All right, it's just about 2:25 here in Grenada, and of course, everybody's going to be keeping their eye on Hurricane Beryl. That's going to be impacting the Windward Islands, and we like to let you know that we're out here trying to get the information for you. So far for the morning, we've been getting a lot of stuff from the Government Information Service. So in case you've been in front of your televisions or via social media, you ensure that you get information from the credible sources. We're just going to be with you for just a little bit because you would be grateful that, you know, we ourselves have to get ourselves prepared and of course ensure that our family and property and so on is safe. We have another update that should be coming towards your way at 3 o'clock via the Government Information Service through NADMA. Happily so, they've been keeping us informed, and just in case, probably, I don't think by now nobody should know that or don't know what's happening in this neck of the woods, that we're currently under a tropical, well, a hurricane warning, and that's for Grenada and Barbados, St. Lucia, and of course St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Tobago. We're keeping an eye out for what forecasters are saying is an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane that's approaching the islands. It's 20 years since we've had Hurricane Ivan. Well, this year, well, the date for Hurricane Ivan is not here as yet, but it's been 20 years. So some people, probably 20 years is going to be like 2 days, probably going through the same sort of experience that they would have had during Hurricane Ivan, having to wake up and get into preparation mode. Some people probably having anxiety, all of that takes place when you're here that a tropical cyclone is forming and heading your way. But as we hear it from the experts, you always have to ensure that you are prepared, ensuring that all your necessary documents, be it passport, insurance, birth papers, whatever it is adequately stored away in containers or Ziploc bags to avoid it from getting wet, and of course all other personal items. In case you're wondering, all the emergency shelters are now activated and open. So if you think where you live is not conducive enough or you don't feel safe, well, of course, you know you could go to your nearest shelter. We're going to be speaking to the National Water and Sewage Authority Communications Officer in a little bit as it relates to what their plans are for water. You would have heard throughout the day that water will be disconnected from as early as 9 p.m. tonight. So you want to ensure that you store water for at least 3 days. We probably have a little bit more leeway with the electricity services. They would maintain the electricity until they decide, okay, it's time to cut it off. So in the meantime, you want to use your electricity supplies by charging up all your devices, your cell phones, whatever gadgets and so that you may have. So once everything is over, you'll be able to maintain that level of connectivity. You know, your friends and family from neighboring islands may want to ensure that you're well, as well as you may want to ensure that they're well. As we rally out this moment, our friends and so on in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, we've been hearing that they may actually not be able to escape the brunt of this hurricane. So we keep them in our prayers, and we tell our folks in Carriacou and Petit Martinique to be on the safe side. A state of emergency is going to be declared as of 7 p.m. tonight for the next 7 days, and that will be declared by the Governor General Dame Cecilia Lagranade. So you know, once a state of emergency, what that means. Some of you might be saying, Lord, we're going back to COVID days, but it is what it is, and a state of emergency could only be revoked if the damage is minimal. So from as 7 p.m. tonight, a state of emergency means you have to ensure that you stay indoors and keep on the safe side, right? So we are going to, there's a lot of information that we'd like to share with you in case you probably don't have social media and you're wondering where your shelters are located. Like we say by now, you should be familiar as to where your shelters are. So in case you think that you have to move, this is the best time to do so because your shelters have been activated both here in Grenada as well as the sister isle of Caracas. So don't wait until it's too late. If you think where you are, especially those of you who live in low-lying areas, don't wait until it gets late to be able to move. So before we make a connection with Jamila Lewis, who is the communication manager for NWASA, we're going to keep you in the know as it relates to where your shelters are. Based on your parish, we want to make sure that we keep you informed. So if you're located in the parish of St. George, for St. George Northeast, the shelter is the New Hampshire Community Center. For St. George Northeast again, so we're going to go through all the districts bit by bit and the shelters. So we in the parish of St. George, and we're looking at the St. George Northeast. Your shelters include the New Hampshire Community Center, the New Hampshire Methodist Center, the Constantine Methodist School, the New Hampshire Faith Church, the St. Mary Junior School. So if you're in the parish of the district of St. George's Northeast, these are your activated shelters. I'll repeat it again: the New Hampshire Community Center, the New Hampshire Methodist Center, the Constantine Methodist School, and the New Hampshire Faith Church, as well as the St. Mary's Junior School. So if you're in the St. George's Northeast area, you know that's where your shelters are located. We're still in the parish of St. George. If we go to the town of St. George, we have the Anglican High School, the Grenada Boys Secondary School, the St. Joseph Convent St. George's, J.W. Fletcher Catholic Secondary School, and Presentation Brothers College. So if you're in the town of St. George, your shelter is the Anglican High School, the Grenada Boys Secondary School, the St. Joseph Convent St. George's, J.W. Fletcher Catholic Secondary School, Presentation Brothers College. Right? And also we're going along again. If you are in the parish of St. George Southeast, Springs Open Bible Church, St. Joseph's Catholic School in Munjaloo, Happy Hill Secondary School, Uganda Matthias Catholic School, and the Mount Morris Community Center. So for those of you who are in the district of St. George's Southeast, those are your shelters: Springs Open Bible Church, St. Joseph's Catholic Secondary School, Happy Hill Secondary School, Uganda's Matthias Catholic Secondary, and Mount Morris Catholic Community, that's Mount Morris Community Center. So just remember, these shelters are all activated as of 11:30 into midday. So if you think you need to move to your respective shelter, you are free to do so. We move to St. David, St. David South. We have the School for the Deaf, the Teresa's Catholic School in Vincennes, the Beryl Community Center, Wester Hall Secondary School, Current Government School, St. Dominic's Catholic School in Pedmata. So if you're in St. David, in the Southern District of St. David's, those are your shelters. If you are in the parish of St. George, we go back to St. George, St. George's Northwest. You have the Mount Morris SDA Church, the Mount Morris Anglican School, the Fontenoy Community Center, and the Grand Mall SDA Church. So if you are in the district St. George's Northwest, those are your shelters. You are Mount Morris SDA Church, Mount Morris Anglican School, Fontenoy Community Center, and the Grand Mall SDA Church. Going along, if you are in the parish of St. Andrew Southwest, your shelter would be the Crowshoe Multi-Purpose Center, Union Community Center, Ford Preschool, Grand Bra Community Center, Harford Village Community Center, St. Martin Catholic Primary School. So if you are in the district of St. Andrew Southwest, those are your activated shelters. We're heading along. If you are in St. Andrew still in the Northwest, we have the Maribor SDA Church, the La Poterie SDA Church, Paraclete Government School, Paradise SDA Church, and you have the Monlong Pentecostal Camp if you are in the district St. Andrew Northwest. You can also visit the page of the Government Information Service as well as the National Disaster Management Agency, and you'll have the full listing of the various shelters. We're still in the Northeast, St. Andrew Northeast now. We're going to Bel Air Government School, Pearls Community Center, the Sacred Heart Catholic School, St. Mary's Catholic School, and the Maribor Pentecostal Church. That's if you are in the St. Andrew Northeast, and the St. Mary's Catholic School and the Maribor Pentecostal Church is in the St. Andrew Northwest District. So by now, as we say, you should be familiar with your respective shelters because they've been released for quite a while, and if you've been following the various social media platforms throughout the day, you would have heard the announcements being made as it relates to where the shelters are located and the contact informations. Just before we switched on to you, there were a couple of rules. So you know the shelters come with rules. It's not like you're in your home because shelters are temporary. So it's not a full-time location. So things like pets and so on, we know some people are passionate about their pets, but things like pets and all the things like in terms of using, being able to cook, because you would appreciate that some shelters are not open to flammable stuff like stoves and so on. So that's why we always advise, make sure that you have your perishable items, your tin stuff, things that could last you for a couple of days, because without a kitchen, you would not be able to prepare hot meals. So bearing in mind, if you're heading to a shelter, to ensure that you have your perishable, non-perishable items that you'll be able to use for a period of 72 hours, right? If we head back into the parish of St. George as it relates to the shelters in the district of St. George South, you have the Woburn Methodist School, the Montu SDA Church, the Bethel Methodist Church Hall, the Marian Multipurpose Center, and you have the St. Paul's Government School. So if you are in the district of St. George South and Southeast, these are your respected shelters. So for the shelters in the Southeast, you have the Bethel Methodist Church, the Marian Multipurpose Center, and the St. Paul's Government School. If you are in the South, you have the Woburn Methodist School and the Montu SDA Church. As indicated before, if you wish to get a hold as to where your shelters are, you can feel free to head on to the Government Information Service and you would get all the respective shelter there. For those of you wondering what does a hurricane watch and a hurricane warning is, a hurricane warning is the highest that you can go in terms of warnings when it comes to a hurricane or a storm. So there is nothing after a hurricane warning. The hurricane warning is the highest it can go, and a hurricane warning means that hurricane conditions are expected somewhere within the warning area. Preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion, right? So now knowing that we are on the hurricane warning, you should be on the verge of completing your preparation for the protection of property and life at this particular point in time. And we've been hearing that we should be feeling the impact or the full brunt of this hurricane between 2 a.m. in the morning and 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So you see that 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. window that you would not be able to venture out on the outside. You want to be able to stay on the inside. So like we said, if you think that you don't feel safe to remain on the inside of your home, then the better chance that you have now is to move to a shelter, taking all your essentials. If you have to stay at home, you make sure you're battening down your doors, your windows, your sandbags, wherever you may, just to ensure that you remain safe. When we hear about a tropical storm warning, which some of the other islands are being issued tropical storm warnings, tropical storm warning means that tropical storm conditions are expected somewhere within the warning area within, let's say, 36 hours. And in case some of you wondering what's the difference between a tropical storm watch, a tropical storm watch means that tropical storm conditions are possible within the watch area, generally within 48 hours. And the Prime Minister did alluded to, people venturing out this morning, having their time, like if it was business as usual. And it must be reminded that Grenada is still under a hurricane warning. And of course, that is the highest level. So The general populace has been advised to take this hurricane pretty seriously, and it's not, as the Prime Minister alluded, it's not a drill, it is not any sort of, it's not a prank, as some of us may want to say. It's not what you would say, oh, God is a Grenadian, and hopefully by 6 p.m. this evening, you know, something miraculous is going to happen, although we all wish for that. At this stage in the game, we have to ensure that we are and remain safe. You also heard that as of 9 a.m. this morning, all police and prison officers was called into duty just to ensure that law and order is maintained throughout the state during this particular point in time. We know what happened during Hurricane Ivan. People tend to want to, if it happens that you see an opportunity for looting, you should, you know, remember that these companies have to rebuild after. So if we vandalize and damage, hence you have all this time now to prepare, so you should have all your food stuff and so on. So you should not have to. One may say, what are you talking about? We should not have to loot. If we could get free stuff, why not take it? But at the end of the day, it's not the right thing. So these police, the lawmen have been activated as of 9 a.m. this morning to ensure that law and order is maintained throughout this whole ordeal. As we indicated, the shelters have been activated. And if we go back in history, like I mentioned earlier, it has been 20 years. This is 20 years since Hurricane Ivan. And we know Hurricane Ivan, we had Emily right after, we had Hurricane Janet. So a lot of people who have experienced these hurricanes are somewhat in their jitters right now because they know how it feels. If I could say that I know how it feels to be involved or here on island when it's a hurricane, well, I'll be telling a lie, because I have somewhat been able to dodge Hurricane Ivan and not be on island, and I was able to dodge Hurricane Emily. I was not on island. So I would respect those who were here and had to experience it. So we tend to have to respect those who probably you find, why are you panicking? Why are you worried? They probably understand what they would have went through during that period of Hurricane Ivan, and who went through Hurricane Janet and so on. All shelters in the sister isle of Carriacou and Petit Martinique was open as of 11:30 this morning. So if you're on the sister isle of Carriacou, you know your shelters are open, and you heard it from the forecasters earlier today in an update that they had at about 12 o'clock. And earlier this morning, that Carriacou actually is going to the center of the storm, is expected to pass over the sister isle. So your shelters are activated as of 11 this morning. So basically, those are some of the top things that we'd like you to know. In case you're wondering, I know a lot of us, we tend to like to add the politics when we're having a natural disaster. You know, there is always these talk about, you know, the Prime Minister heading out and so on. He had multiple updates this morning and yesterday, and certain sometime during the course before the end of the day, there would be another. Over on the sister isle of Carriacou, the Minister of Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs and Local Government, the Honourable Tevin Andrews, he was off island, but of course he had cut his trip short to return home. No better place to be at home. He is at the helm to ensure that, you know, people remain safe on the sister isle of Carriacou. So at this moment, we would be able to go back to a previous press conference held earlier this morning, where the Prime Minister would have addressed the nation in terms of bringing us up to speed with what's happening. Like we say, as information unfolds, you would be able to get information. This is just going to be a short broadcast today to just assure you that we're with you. You will be able to see postings on our social media platform, but as well as we would be joining the Government Information Service throughout the remainder of the day so that you will be able to keep abreast. But just in case you have missed what the Prime Minister indicated earlier today, we're going to go over to that statement or address or update, we can put it, that the Prime Minister made earlier this afternoon.
Good afternoon to the citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. I greet you well. I trust that over the last several hours, you have been paying attention to the public information being put out by NADMA, and that you are taking the appropriate measures to secure yourself, your family, and your property. I want to start by reiterating the 11 a.m. briefing which Mr. Tamer has put out. The briefing indicates that Grenada is under hurricane warning. A hurricane warning is the highest threat level that is possible. It therefore means, in simple language, that Grenada is likely to be hit within the next 24 hours by Hurricane Beryl. As I said last night, this is not a drill. We need to be calm, we need to pray, but most importantly, we need to prepare. This morning, in driving around, I saw a number of persons engaging in open entertainment type activities, seemingly with no care in the world. By 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, we are expected to face significant rainfall, significant wind, and significant storm surge. So I want to urge all of us as citizens of Grenada that we use the next 6 hours to ensure that we prepare for the hurricane. It is not a storm anymore. It is a Category 3, likely to become Category 4 hurricane. The models are indicating that, 1, we are likely to have devastating wind damage on Monday, where the eye wall of Beryl will move over the Windward Islands. One of the models indicate that it is possible that the eye of the hurricane may pass over the island of Carriacou. If that happens, it means all of Grenada, Petite Martinique, and Carriacou are going to be at the center of this hurricane. And so we need to take this seriously. 2, life-threatening storm surges are expected with water levels between 6 to 9 feet above normal tide levels in areas near onshore, should the hurricane make landfall in Grenada. It therefore means that persons who are living in low-lying areas prone to storm surge are required to evacuate this afternoon. As of midday, all the hurricane shelters throughout Petite Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada are open. All of the shelter managers are in place. All of the district coordinators and deputy district coordinators have been mobilized. And so if there is a need for you to move, if you live in a low-lying area that is susceptible to storm surge, we urge you now, in the next 6 hours, to move to higher ground, move to family members who may live on higher ground, or move to a shelter that is nearest to you. The list of shelters are out. They've been circulated on social media. They've been circulated by the members of the media, thankfully, and so we ask you to familiarize yourself with the shelter that is closest to you. Rainfall. It is expected that up to 75 to 150 millimeters of rainfall may occur as a result of this. Mr. Tamer last night indicated that 100 millimeters of rainfall is the equivalent to rainfall that we received for the last 3 months in 24 hours. The model is predicting that we may get as much as 150 millimeters of rainfall. It therefore means that we may have significant precipitation and significant flooding. It is therefore important, again, that if you live in an area that is flood prone, that you evacuate, that you move to higher ground, move to family members who may have access to an area that does not flood, or if you have no other option, to please move into a shelter. It is not too early to move into shelters. We expect that the most severe weather will occur tonight, into the morning, and into the daytime tomorrow. It will be very difficult to move to a shelter while the storm is passing over Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. And therefore, if you live in an area that is flood prone, if you live in an area that is susceptible to storm surges, we will urge you now to use the opportunity to move either into a shelter or to move into family members homes who do not reside in those areas. In light of the 11 a.m. forecast and the likely impact of the storm potentially directly impacting Grenada, the Governor General will declare a state of emergency effective at 7 p.m. this evening. This state of emergency will last for initially 7 days unless earlier revoked. I'm going to repeat. In light of the 11 a.m. bulletin issued from the Hurricane Center and the Meteorology Office in Grenada and the likely impacts from the storm, we, via the Governor General, are declaring a state of emergency that will commence at 7 p.m. this evening. It will last for 7 days initially unless earlier revoked. It will be earlier revoked if we do not get a direct impact from the storm or if the damages are minimal. But in the meantime, we have no choice but to take all the necessary precautions. It therefore means, citizens of Grenada, that we should use the next 6 to 7 hours to prepare for riding out the storm. If you need to get groceries, you have the next 7 hours to do so. If you need to fill up on water, you have the next 7 hours to do so. Except for security forces, the police, prison officers, essential services workers, and other emergency personnel, after 7 p.m., no one will be expected to be on the roadways, and no one will be expected to be outside of their homes or a shelter, as the case may be. This is necessary to safeguard your life, to safeguard your limb, to safeguard our collective property and security. Electricity. GRENLEC will keep the power on as long as it can without endangering the lives of the citizens. So there is no set time for the disconnection of electricity. It will remain on as long as possible because we appreciate that in a situation where people are being hunkered down, we want to make you as comfortable as possible. And so electricity will only be disconnected if it becomes necessary in the interest of safety to do so. Since last night, NWASA indicated that water will be taken at 9 p.m. tonight. So again, citizens, water is perhaps the most essential ingredient during times of natural disasters. And so it is vital that we stock up as much as possible on water. Now, we have until 9 p.m. It will be cut at 9 p.m. because of the likely turbidity that will come from the heavy rainfall, and in an attempt to protect the external plant of NWASA, the water will be cut. All police officers, as of 9 a.m., have been asked to return to work, and all leave have been cancelled. The same applies to all prison officers. The prison management, in conjunction with the Royal Grenada Police Force, is working to make sure that as much as possible, we can properly secure the prisoners and secure the infrastructure at the prison. And the Royal Grenada Police Force will work with the prison management to provide the necessary support that is required in relation to ensuring that we take all necessary measures to safeguard the prisoners, as well as to safeguard the prison officers who will be required to work at the prison during this difficult time. 10 police officers were assigned to the RSS to assist with the just concluded ICC T20 tournament. We have asked that they be returned to Grenada, and the RSS is currently working on making sure that they get back here as soon as possible to assist us with the necessary measures. All of the various sector groups which make up the National Emergency Advisory Council have activated the hurricane plans, both the private sector and the public sector. And so we expect all of them over the next several hours to continue to brief their members, to continue to encourage them and to support them to make sure that they in fact activate and implement the hurricane plans. This is a time, naturally, that we all need to band together, that we all need to support each other, and we all need to ensure that we act in our collective best interests. We do not control the storm. We do not control the direction it will take. We do not control the force of its winds or the amount of rainfall that it will bring. What we do have control over is how well we prepare, both before the storm, during the storm, and after the storm. As the Prime Minister of this country, I wish to advise you that the Cabinet met at 11 a.m. in an emergency Cabinet meeting. The Cabinet and the Government of Grenada will give full support to all of the sectors that are required to make sure that during this difficult period that we stay safe, that we stay secure, and that we come out of this episode stronger and more united. The CARICOM meeting, which was scheduled to be held in Grenada this week, has been cancelled. My colleagues and I within the region are in regular contact. As you may be aware, St. Vincent, like Grenada, is on the hurricane warning, and so we are continuing to communicate with all of the regional bodies throughout the region to make sure that we provide the necessary support, that we provide the necessary communication that is required to make sure that all of us can help each other at this difficult time. So again, I want to conclude by asking us to remain prayerful, to prepare, to take this seriously, and to make sure that we do everything that we can to protect our lives, to protect our limbs, and to protect our property. We will continue to provide information as much as possible in a timely manner. As indicated from last night, we will do so every 3 hours. Should there be any need to have any additional briefings within the 3-hour period, we will do so. The Operations Center is fully activated. The communication team is fully activated. We thank the members of the media who have been supportive thus far and who have been assisting in disseminating accurate information and who have been encouraging members of the public to take this seriously and to prepare. We ask the media to continue doing so. There is no need to panic. There is no need to worry simply because panicking and worrying does not change the trajectory of the storm. We need to prepare. By preparing, we can give ourselves some comfort. We can certainly pray and ask God for His mercies at this time. And again, I assure you that we are committed to ensuring that we do everything that is possible to keep the nation safe.
There you had it. That was the Prime Minister who was addressing the nation earlier today. It's part of his periodic updates. You know, he's been doing that since last night. He had one at 7:30, and today there is another one at 12, and I'm certain there would be another one sometime during the course of the afternoon into the evening as we go along. We're going to be trying to make contact with the communications manager or the communications officer for NAWASA, who is going to bring us up to speed. We know a couple of you had some concerns that your water have been out probably since long before this announcement that the water would be out. But as soon as we make connection with her, maybe we might be able to ask some of the questions. But just in the event, it's just to know that earlier it was indicated that as of 9 p.m. tonight, that NAWASA would be disconnecting their water. So those of you who probably still don't have, I think from what I could recall, the communications officer had indicated that because we had that heavy downpour yesterday, there would be a lot of blockage and so on that they have been trying to restore so that you would be able to get some form of running water so that you can store. So you would appreciate at this particular point in time, NAWASA and all the other utility companies are stretched when it comes to what they can do. So it's just a matter of time. There are numbers that you can call, but once we be able to get connection with her, we would be able to ask some of the questions that concerns you. In the meantime, for the parish of St. David, we're going to go back to some of the shelters. For the parish of St. David, that's the northern part of St. David. Your shelter is the St. David's Catholic School, the St. Joseph Catholic School in Pomrose, and the Beryl Community Center. So if you are in the St. David North District, those are your shelter. The St. David's Catholic School, the St. Joseph Catholic School in Pomrose, and the Beryl Community Center. right? That's if you're in the northern part of St. David. If you are in the parish of St. John, your district area, if you are in St. John district, your shelter includes the Concord SDA Church, the Concord Government School, the New Life Organization NULO, the St. Rose Modern Secondary School, the St. Peter's Catholic School. So if you are in St. John, these are your activated shelters: the Concord SDA Church, the Concord Government School, the New Life Organization, NULO, the St. Rose Modern Secondary School, and the St. Peter's Catholic School. So just bear those in mind. If we're still in the St. John district, of course, remember those are your shelters that are activated as of 12 p.m. today. So you don't have to be worried if you think you want to leave. This is your chance to do so. We head back into St. Patrick. I know some of you on the Facebook Live have been asking about the shelters in St. Patrick. So if you are in the St. Patrick District West, that is St. Patrick West District, your shelter includes, it goes to the Shantimel Community Center, McDonald's College, the St. Patrick's Anglican School, the Hermitage Government School, River Sally Community Center, and the Samaritan Presbyterian School. So if you are in St. Patrick West District, your shelter is the Shantimel Community Center, McDonald's College, St. Patrick's Anglican School, and if you are in St. Patrick East, your shelter is the Hermitage Government School, River Sally Community Center, and the Samaritan Presbyterian School. So if you are in the West and you are in the East, these are your shelters that have been operated and activated as of today. So if you are in those areas, you know what you have to do. If we head back into St. Andrew, if you are in the district St. Andrew Southwest, right? If you are in the district Southwest, your shelter that has been activated is the Holy Cross Catholic School in Munich, the Holy Innocent Anglican School, the St. Andrew's Catholic School, the St. Joseph Convent Grenville, Birch Grove New Testament Church. So if you are in the St. Andrew district, which is the southwest district of St. Andrew, those are your activated shelters. So your Holy Cross Catholic School in Munich, your Holy Innocent Anglican School, your St. Andrew's Catholic Schools, and your St. Joseph Convent Grenville, and your Birch Grove New Testament. So you have to pay attention to your district. So you have to know where your districts are so that to ensure that you go to the right shelter. If we go back to St. George, the district St. George is northeast. If you are in the district St. George is northeast, your activated shelter is the Boca Secondary School, Our Lady Help of Christians Catholic School, the Nativity Catholic School in Vendham, the Bolio SDA Church, and the Ebenezer Church of God Learning Center. So if you are in the St. George Northeast District, you go to the Boca Secondary School, Our Lady Help of Christians Catholic School, the Nativity Catholic Church, that's the Nativity Catholic School in Vendham, your Bolio SDA Church, and the Ebenezer Church of God Learning Center. So like I did indicate, if you want to get a feed as to where the shelters are, you can visit the page of the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, and also the Government Information Service, GIS, and the district's shelters will be posted there, including a listing of your shelter managers. Of course, the shelters must be managed, or you can also contact the National Disaster Management Agency, who will provide you with the information that you require as to where your districts are, who your district's managers would be. So of course you would be able to be in the know. This is where we're tracking Hurricane Beryl. Of course, by now you should be aware as to what's taking place. I don't think there should be anybody now who probably will be saying, well, I don't know what's happening, what I need to do. We are supposed to be in preparation mode. We just wanted to ensure that you're aware that we are here with you, sharing the necessary information that is required, so you can visit our Facebook pages as well. You would agree that we too have property and family that we have to secure So we wish we could have been here with you until the very end, but that does not allow us to do so. We will keep you in the know as it relates to if we have any program changes. We know we're going to be on a state of emergency as of 7 p.m. tonight, so we all know what a state of emergency means. It's literally almost no movements, only for essential services only. And once the first all clear is given, the first all clear, it's always for the evaluators, service providers, and those are people like NADMA, police officers, nurses, and so on. Because you would agree that once the first all clear is given, is to ensure that it's safe for us to be able to venture out on the outside. So once you hear that all clear is given, the first all clear is usually for evaluation to ensure that, you know, the road networks are accessible to and from, and all of those stuff. So we ought to remain in our seats, in our houses, wherever you are, until we get the official all clear for us to be able to move. And of course, you heard it, the state of emergency is going to last for 7 days unless the damage sustained from the impact of Hurricane Beryl is minimal. So don't go out and say that you didn't know. You hear the Prime Minister indicated that. So this is a state of emergency. So tomorrow morning, we will still be going through the brunt of the hurricane. It is now a Category 4 and labeled as a very dangerous hurricane. So when you hear the word dangerous, you're supposed to know what that means. If you live into low-lying areas, you know you have to try your very best to get to higher grounds. If you have your small craft operators, by now you should have been able to get your boats into shore and make sure that they are secured. Right? If you have babies and children, you make sure that they're safe. All your personal items should be securely put away at this time. So this is where I think we could say we could wrap it up for you, and we're going to join our friends at the Government Information Service, where they're going to be sharing all the information there. That's where the center is. So all the information that you require, you would hear it from all the stakeholders. From the various meetings, they will provide updates as it becomes available. And don't quarrel. If you tune in later on and you recognize you're not seeing us, it's because, you know, we don't run with water. So we have to ensure that our systems are secured as well. So we're going to keep you locked in as much as we can. So if you don't see us, then don't say we cut you all off. We didn't cut you all off. It's just because we have to ensure that we remain safe and all those good stuff. So for the time being, you're going to join our friends at the Government Information Service. So they would share all the information there. They should have another update coming up in the next couple of minutes. So this is where I say goodbye for now. And we'll see you probably tomorrow. Well, I guess we will see you. If we don't see you then, because, you know, we can't see you until we could see you. But from now, we're going to switch over to GIS for all the information relative to the tracking of Hurricane Beryl.